All right, so if you're watching this today, it's because you signed up for our Bible reading plan through the book of Ephesians. Now, when you first start a book, try to watch the overview of it that the Bible Project puts out. You can look that up on YouTube. I'll attach the link to this message or put it in the description. Second thing is every day you want to walk away with one thing, and then take that one thing and bring it up throughout the day. Like maybe you revisit it at lunch or dinner, or tell someone that is close to you in your life, like your spouse or your kids or whatever. And that's how this stuff tends to form us when we revisit it throughout the day. It doesn't have to be huge, doesn't have to be long, could be like one word or one thought, and just let it come up over and over again. Then it starts to come up on its own, and that's when you see it actually starting to form us. So that's a big thing. Remember, watch the overview today and let one thing come up a few different times throughout the day on purpose. If you look over there in my office, I don't know if you can see it from this angle, but there's a wall over there right next to my desk. I write stuff all over that wall like this because I want to remember it. I want to revisit it, or I'll write it on my hand. I know it's not like super classy, but if you got a planner, a note, whatever, just bring it back up. Okay, so Ephesians. Now, if you were with us on Sunday, we talked about how to read a letter and understanding the importance of knowing who the letter's from and who it's to and why it was written. Paul was a follower of Jesus who started churches all over the ancient world, and he was writing to these people that he knew, the church in Ephesus. He spent 2 years with them. You could actually read about that in Acts chapter 19 if you want. It's kind of cool. But he's writing from a prison. Like, life is not great for Paul at the time of writing. And he starts out with this really long explanation of just how much we've been given because of Jesus. That's like the spiritual opening to the letter. Now, if you're like me, I like to look for practical stuff. Like, okay, just tell me what to do. Show me how to plug this in. What should I say? What should I not say? What should I do? What should I not do? That comes later on in the message, but he opens it up with a lot of spiritual, theological information. It is so totally worth not skipping that and trying to understand what he's getting at. He's like the king of the run-on sentence, and so it might seem like he's rambling, but it's only one chapter a day, so try to go back and try to get what he's saying. Like, put the words together, try to figure out the structure of a sentence. What is the idea he's getting at here? Because the spiritual stuff is supposed to be the motivation for the practical stuff. And if it is, that's like the way it's supposed to be. If it's not, and we just look at the practical stuff, that's when this whole thing becomes about like behavior and doing the right things and not doing the other things, and moralism and legalism. And so the spiritual side of things really matter. Today, the one thing, at least that I'm taking away, maybe you can take away, at the end of chapter 1, Paul prays for these Ephesian people, and he's in jail. And I think it's worth recognizing the difference between what Paul prays for and what you and I tend to pray for, right? Like, if you're like me, we pray for things like comfort and health, healing from ailments, and he's just on a different level. Like, different things matter to him. He prays that these people would have a spirit of wisdom and revelation so that they would know God better. It's like the top of his list. And then he prays for 3 things: that they would understand the hope that they have, that they would get the riches of their inheritance, like that they would understand the value, the real actual value right now of everything that God has given them, and the incomparably great power for those who believe, which he adds is like, it's the same power that brought Jesus back from the dead. And that's like available to us. Like, it can be our source of strength. That's pretty cool. Like, he prays a few times throughout this letter, and I'm always blown away by what this guy is praying for and how differently he thinks from the way that I think we tend to think in the church today. So maybe think about those 3 things, like, and that one thing. But what he prays for, like, that we'd understand, like, know God better and know the hope that we have to look forward to, the value of what he's given us, and the real, like, power that's available for us, to us today. So that's day one. Just kicking it off, 1 chapter a day. You can do it. Stick with it. You'll be so glad you did by the end of this week. See you tomorrow.